we did a show in Prague with Metallica and Five Finger about 8 months ago, and it was really cool. Metallica like sat on the side of the stage while we played and watched us. I thought it was really cool to have those guys hang out, and James, like, he introduced himself to us afterwards, and I told him, I was like, hey man, it's really an honor to meet you. Like, there's not that many bands that we've played in front of, that I'm kind of like frightened to play in front of. But there's only a few in the world that are kind of scary, like Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, and Metallica. Like, nobody wants to see the opening band. Everybody wants to see those bands. And so going out on stage and seeing everybody in Metallica fans, I was like, I considered it a success that I didn't get hit with anything. And James looked at me and he goes, yeah, I missed. I was like, that was really good. It was good. He was quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Benny Goodman, the Neurotic Guitarist, and I'm here with my cohorts, compatriots, Siobhán Cronin and Cory Peza. How are you guys?
Great. I'm excited. This is a very visual episode, as always, because this week we have our good friend, not to steal your intro, but we have Satchel back on from Steel Panther, one of our most popular guests.
I didn't have to lie by saying that he's like my favorite guest ever, because we say that to a lot of people, but in this case, for this episode, he's definitely our favorite guest ever. Satchel from Steel Panther. Satchel, how are you?
I feel like $100.
In this economy?
What's that even worth now?
Yeah, I know.
You guys, am I in? Can people see me? I mean, I don't even know if I was picking my nose a second ago.
Well, you look great doing it. So for anyone that's listening to the audio podcast, tune into the video on YouTube.
I think we should make picking our noses like totally acceptable. Don't you think?
Who says it isn't?
It is for me. I do it all the time. It's uncomfortable to have boogers in your nose, but people are still very judgmental of that kind of shit. And it's really lame. I think it should be made. I think we should have, presidents, and not that anybody looks up to the president anymore, I guess. But, foreign dignitaries, people should be picking their nose on TV all the time. Game show hosts, all that shit.
Growing up skiing, my dad had stalactites hanging from his like 70s porn stash. So I just wished he would just pick at that in front of me, just to let me know that he knew that existed. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Back in the 80s, just going skiing, and you had the is it stalagmites or stalactites of just boogers just hanging from your
Stalactites from the mustache, stalagmites from the beard.
Okay,
that's right.
Depends on
Did
the
the
side.
stalagmites go up?
Sure.
I think so.
It's really hard to remember. I do know that you never eat soggy waffles, and every good boy does fine, right? That's all lies, by the way, because you can totally eat soggy waffles, and not every good boy does fine. It's a lie told us by the establishment to get us to remember things that.
Siobhán just got it. She's like, oh, that's musical.
No, I got the every good boy does fine from the lines on the treble clef, but what's the soggy waffles referring to?
It's northeast, southwest.
Ah, okay. Right? For people that forget what? Why do you need to be reminded of how to remember that?
Yeah, this is before people had GPS on them all the time. Kids, right. Anybody, when I say kids, I mean anybody under 50. Kids don't remember this shit. I mean, I used to have a compass to get to school, and I used to ride a Velociraptor to school. A lot of people don't remember.
Back in the prehistoric age.
Yeah, it was a different time back then.
But kids don't remember anything now. I mean, because they have TikTok, and it's like you only have to be like in the present for 10 seconds and not remember anything. So,
I mean, people don't have to remember anything, so they go on Google, and then Google goes, "Hey, what kind of bullshit should we teach these kids?" Yes. Let's tell them Kip Winger was the president of France in 1782 or so. I don't know.
But come on, in the defense of Kip Winger and France, it's kind of an accurate statement. Like he's very dignitary-like. Kip Winger is a full-blown composer. I wouldn't be surprised if he has like the Beethoven like sashy shirts like Yngwie at home, because Kip kisses above my head.
Did I tell you Winger is going on tour with us?
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're going to England with us and it's going to be great. We love Winger, and they're a great band. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Winger, but
I have not.
Yeah, dude, Reb Beach. Fuck
Reb,
yeah.
Yeah, Reb's great. They're all great players, and I know Reb's still in the band. I'm pretty sure Reb's still in the band.
Who else would be would be like Paul Short, the guitar keyboard guy, be playing instead of Reb? I mean, how can you replace Reb and Winger? I can understand in Whitesnake, since he's like the 73rd dude. It's like, is it Doug Aldrich? Is it Mickey Moody? Is it like John Sykes? Is it Reb Beach? Because that's just David Coverdale because he's gluttonous. But in Winger, there can only be one, and that's Reb Beach.
He's a huge part of Winger for sure, and I don't know who you would get to do all the tapping licks that he did so well in that band.
So when is the Europe or the UK or whatever the tour is that you're talking about? When is that happening?
I think we're going over there with Winger in May, which should be awesome. And we haven't done a headlining tour in the UK since before they started the one world government and locked everybody down into oblivion. So, but we're looking forward to it. We've gone back and we did Download Festival in 2022, but that was all we did in England for the last 3 years. So,
how do you feel about British fans, like versus your US
I hate
fans?
them all. No, I'm kidding. They're great. No, they're great. I mean, they're great. I mean, they're definitely. They're really sweet people. They're really. I think they have to be because they're not very good looking. No, I'm kidding. They're all great. Some of them. I'm surprised. I was expected all English people to look like Benny Hill at one point, and so every once in a while I'll see a girl. I'm like, fuck, I would totally fuck this English girl, and then she smiles and her teeth are all fucked up.
I remember when we were on tour, my band, it was when the Bohemian Rhapsody movie came out, and there was some reference to like a British people having bad teeth joke. And we watched like this movie in the theater in the UK, and all of us laughed in like a single row at that joke, and not a single other person found it funny. They were all so offended by that. And I was just like, wow, we really are in a different place.
They've got a good sense of humor though. I remember one time we were touring Europe and we went, we got to the UK after being, in France and Germany and places like that. And, everybody speaks English in the UK. And the first thing I said on stage, I was like, oh man, I'm so fucking glad we're here in the fucking UK where everybody speaks American. And like the whole fucking place went, boo, boo. And then I said, you guys are just pissed because we won the war. And it was great. They all laughed and they kept going with it. It was great.
What a great way to start a show.
It was. I got them on their grumpy side, but they were ready to have fun, so it didn't fucking matter. I figure if you get pissed at that, then you shouldn't be at a Steel Panther show.
Steel Panther. Just before we get too far, we got to talk about this because you guys just dropped a new track on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, well, it's a great song and it's a great video. It's off our new record. We have a record coming out in...
do not watch it at work.
Yeah, or do watch it at work if you don't like your job.
If your job's onlyfans.com/Satchel.
Yeah, which is like 90% of the girls under 30 at this point. Listen, it's called Friends with Benefits. It's off our new record on the Prowl. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's about friends with benefits. And it's interesting. I tend to write songs sometimes and I go, oh, this is a great title for a song. And then somebody points out later after the song is out, they'll go, this doesn't sound like a friends with benefits situation. This sounds more like a man and a hooker. Like it's just, but isn't that the same thing? So, but that's what the friends with benefits. A lot of the lines are, you get $35. I get to slap you with my dick. You get dinner at Spago's. I get to come inside your ass. Those are the lyrics basically. So It's,
I mean, isn't the Friends with Benny's technically like you could be talking about Benjamin Franklin's? So maybe they don't understand in the UK that
True.
you're referring to the dignitary that was Benjamin Franklin, who also did a lot with his dick all over the place.
true. Yes. And all these guys did. And
What a great whore Benjamin Franklin was.
he was.
A lot of the classical composers were too. Nobody likes to talk about the fact that like a lot of the greatest classical composers had like millions of illegitimate children.
How many Bachs are there? They really like to Bach.
Who knows? Who knows at this point?
Yeah.
Way more than we can count.
Probably populates more than half the world, right? I mean, but you know, a lot of people don't know that Albert Einstein, same thing. He was, I mean, not only were his parents first cousins, which is really hot, but Albert Einstein's married. I think he married his own cousin, and he was just banging everything with a hole, basically. So.
I was surprised that that was what you went for with Albert Einstein, considering he made a whole list for his wife of "Do not talk to me." Yeah, have you not looked at this? Like, not Fran's list, but there was a list of like, "Do not talk to me if I'm working. Just leave my dinner. Do not expect sex of me." I mean, it's not very Steel Panther-esque, but funny.
That was only to keep him out of there because he was banging hookers. I mean, listen, let's face it. Albert Einstein, he was very famous, but he wrote the theory of relativity at 26 fucking years old. So he made his mark, and then he was like, I'm fucking famous. I'm going to fuck as many girls as I can. If Albert Einstein could have had our OnlyFans, you know he fucking would have.
You know, I feel like that you need to write a song about Rasputin, because that would be a very Steel Panther thing. That dude banged everybody, and they couldn't kill him. You know, like they had to like shoot him and poison him and like put him underwater, and he still lived and still fucked like that guy's sister.
Rasputin is not very catchy though as a name. You know, it's like friends with benefits sounds better than acquaintances with benefits.
Yeah, right. It's there's a lot of good. I've got a lot of song ideas in the hat right now, but that will go in there. That's there's
not the dirty sock.
The dirty sock. Well, I don't.
Well, instead of the hat, you know, maybe it'll actually make an album if it's in the dirty sock.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you know, there's so many. I've like over the last, I mean, probably 20 years that we've been because I started writing songs for Steel Panther long before we got a record deal, right? So, you know, a lot of people in bands think that, you know, especially when you start to get known or whatever, like that it happens overnight, and sometimes it does. But I think a lot of bands, we did it the old school way, which I never wanted to do. Like, I remember having these conversations with the guys in my band years ago where they were like, you know, talking about who's the guy who sings that song Satellite? He's the 90s Dave something?
Oh, Dave Matthews Band.
Dave Matthews Band, right? So like I remember hearing about him and how he did it the old fashioned way. He like played shows in college dorms and just did a bunch of live shows for like years and years and years. And then he finally blew up. And I was like, God, I don't want to fucking do that. It sounds miserable. Like fucking just play like backyard parties. But that's basically what we ended up doing. We just did small clubs like forever. And then we, you know, did the Sunset Strip forever and ever and ever. And then eventually, like after like 15 years of doing live shows, somebody said, hey, we should give you guys a record deal. And we were already like way too old to give a shit at that point. So we were like, fuck it. We'll just take it. But I had already written a bunch of songs at that point. We were already selling CDs out of the trunk of our car. And a lot of people don't know that about us. But we were basically like, shit, let's just do bitchin' songs about fucking old people in the ass. And we'll sell it to the audience. They'll love that shit. So it was funny because I remember we were playing the Viper Room and we started selling CDs from the stage, and we had a box of CDs and we literally sold them to the audience. And the first night we sold like 300 CDs, and we were like, this is going to be amazing. We're going to get rich. And the next week we had a box of CDs and everybody was the same people in the crowd. Nobody bought a CD. I was like, fuck, we already sold out. This sucks. Like we're not going to sell anymore.
It does go to say that Steel Panther does have the most allegiant fans, though. You know,
we the whole goal when we first started playing was let's just do whatever we can to get people to come back every week. So if if we have to have two girls with one cup on stage, we will. Fuck it,
Oh God, I have
Yeah.
PTSD from seeing that movie or
Whatever
video.
it takes, Siobhán, whatever it takes,
It definitely triggers you. That's for sure.
Did you watch it?
I was like inadvertently forced to watch it in college. I just remember like I just got to a certain point and I was like, I don't need to know anymore. But forever after, it doesn't even matter because I just know what it is and I can't even hear about it.
Well, inadvertently, you watched it that's kind of a rapey situation. If somebody made you watch that, and you weren't ready for it,
was it like Clockwork Orange? Did someone sit you down like Stanley Kubrick with your like the things on your eyes, and you're like, you must watch girls shit on each other?
But it's one of those situations where it's like everybody's talking about it, so you're so curious about it, and it's like that you probably don't need to watch this, and you probably shouldn't watch this, and your life will be much better if you don't watch this. But you can't resist the fact that like you need to know.
It's like a Joe Biden speech. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Dude, listen, I gotta tell you, I try to stay like completely out of like the media. I haven't heard anything about that guy. What a wonderful way. Like he doesn't even exist. Like I didn't even know we had a president. I walked outside, took my dog down the street, and like the first I knew we had a president, the last I remember him, he was walking into a garden somewhere. And they're just like, where's he going? And they're like, I don't know. That was it. That was Joe. Just right off into the sunset.
It's fucking fascinating. It's really amazing watching like the way the media covers him compared to the way the media covered Donald Trump, right? So it's just very, very different. So I'll just leave it at that. It's very, very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a little bit like watching two girls with one cup. You can't stop watching it. You just fuck them.
Well, I stopped, but I saw more than enough to affect me forever.
Well, so. I stopped with about 4 seconds left in the video.
Listen, it must have gone viral for a reason. So clearly, you know the audience. So
I know. This is why. I mean, I can't understand why all my own shit eating videos haven't gone viral at this point.
Because you weren't the first to do it.
That's the problem. Nobody wants to watch a 70-year-old man eat his own turds. What's wrong with people?
There's a market for that somewhere.
In Germany.
I want to ask you, and I was just browsing the headlines for the recent Steel Panther news, and I also come across this tidbit about you guys have an app now.
It's just a dating app where the people are real and not like. I mean, have you been on Tinder lately?
Not lately, not in years.
You are not missing out because it's all super duper hot chicks, but it's the same picture of like the same people over and over. And I just picture like, there's some like, 80-year-old Asian man like with all these fake accounts, and he's like they try to get you to like, go and donate. Basically, go to a OnlyFans page or
really?
Yeah, it's either all real hookers, which I'm fine with, or
wait a minute, hold on. I've been out of the game for a while, so you can't even use the internet and its applications to like fairly fuck random chicks anymore. It's just bots.
No, because that's the problem with the internet. It all turns to shit after a while, and like somebody somewhere figures out how to make a scam out of everything, right? So you're somebody makes a great invention like, hey, let's hook people up so they can just fuck, and everybody's having a great time, and then some other people are like, hey, we can make money off this, and let's put fake pictures on there. And it's like, God, we were having a great time fucking each other.
Adult Friend Finder was definitely, none of those people were real, man. It was like one old guy.
Right. I know. It's the same thing. The same thing happens to all those apps. So, but that's why we're starting an app where you can't be a fake person. You have to be real. You have to take pictures of your own dick before you get on there, or your vagina.
So that is how you verify the identity.
That you have. It's like a retina scan, except it's your balls.
So who did the programming on that?
That was me. I used my own balls were the test subject.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were a little too big at first, so we had to
bigger lens.
Yeah. We had to get a big telescopic lens. It was crazy.
Okay. All right.
It's like shooting the moon.
Now the new record's on the Prowl. Is that kind of like your research for this application was being on the Prowl? It certainly sounds awfully prowly to me.
That was one of the things. It was like we were like, this is great. We've got this album called Down the Prowl, and why not start an app and really go into let's be tech moguls. Fuck it. There's not really any money in music anymore. So let's be the next Elon Musk. Let's start. We'll do everything opposites, though. Instead of starting Tinder, we'll start Tinder that has real people instead of fake people. And then, instead of, starting our own SpaceX, we'll start a company that doesn't just grift off the government. We actually really do send people to space, and we don't just talk about it. And then instead of making electric cars, we'll just make Ford F-150s that are all gas, and they don't even run on gas. They just run on hamburgers. You put hamburgers in the engine, and it fucking burns hamburgers and unwanted children.
That sounds like a modest proposal there, Satchel. Yeah. I liked how you brought that in with a Jonathan Swift 17th century eating children joke.
Yeah, we'll solve all the world's problems while. Fuck it. We're like anti-global warming. We're let's try to heat the globe up. I'm freezing my ass off in Vegas. It fucking snowed in Vegas yesterday, and you're telling me that the globe is too hot? Fuck you, man. I'm freezing my ass off. I don't even have a coat warm enough to live here now. It's freezing.
It was negative 23 in Boston the other day. I took my dog out, and I was like,
don't
"This
go to
is
Boston.
What the fuck is this?"
You killed your dog because it was too cold?
I did kill my dog. He wasn't too cold. I just left him outside, and then he got too cold.
I almost killed my dog because he was too cold, and then I figured out that he was just shivering because he was trying to get sympathy for a snack. And he almost got a bull in the head. I was like, hey, next time don't fake it,
Well, speaking of companies wanting to make money on things, I'm curious. This will be a fun question. We were talking about Google. What, how they target you? They follow what you're doing. You get targeted ads. What do your Google targeted ads look like?
Oh, mine are usually just hookers and dildos and cocaine and shit. But it's weird because the cocaine that you buy on Amazon, it's really there's always a picture of I don't know, a bedpan or they don't sell it as cocaine. So you got to figure out why is this thermometer $700? Oh, it's because it's a kilo of cocaine, whatever.
Right. I've noted that that's a thing though, because my husband ordered, I can't remember what it was, but it was a little robot vacuum that was mysteriously very cheap. And of course it was a piece of shit. But all the reviews had something to do with something else. It was a reviews about a completely different product.
Oh yeah, no, they do this. They have fake products that they put on Amazon, and Amazon's like, fuck it. And then they're like, oh yeah, no, it has 3,700 5-star reviews. And you look at it and it's for a calculator.
Right. That's exactly what it was, I think. It was a calculator.
I want to tell you on my news feed. A long time ago, I saw this crazy, disgusting bear, right? It's blims coming out and all that. But this was supposed to be a plush toy. It was beautiful, this big plush toy with all this guts coming out of it. I'm like, I'll buy that. 18 weeks later, I get this made of asbestos and paper mache. This by the way, this wasn't even the one I ordered. This was not even the bear I ordered. This wasn't the style. And when I went to go right back to them, it was a dummy company, didn't exist. All the reviews were gone. Yeah. And I'm just left with this asbestos bear. Wow.
Well, at least you got a bear.
Definitely with a camera in it that's going to some feed somewhere.
Yeah, right. It's recording everything. It's fucking.
Satchel will appreciate this, dude. So the other night, I've never ever put tape on any fucking camera. Whatever. I'm nobody's watching me. I'm watching some fucking dirty ass porn I do because I'm an old man. I'm disgusting. I'm a terrible person. If you looked at my Google searches, I'm fucked. Right. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I noticed that the light is on my camera over here.
Yeah.
It's on over there. And then 5 minutes later, it was off. And I Googled it. And they're like, no, someone's definitely watching you. So now I've taped everything. Even my own cameras from my own house for surveillance. I put tape over those too.
When I find out people are watching me, I just shove my dick right in the camera. Fuck it. You want to see it.
Why give that away for free though? You got to be charging a subscription.
Why not? If somebody wants to look at my dick, I'm happy about it. Here you go, Grandpa. Get off on it.
All right, so I don't mean to get introspective here, but I'd like to talk about the fact that we no longer have Lexxi on this record. You have a new bass player. Last we talked to you, you kind of let us know, and we all love Lexxi. We've loved him. He was great. What a part of the band. What's going on now? Like, fill me in.
Well, we've got Spyder on bass now, and he's kicking ass. And I didn't have to redo any of the bass parts on this album because Spyder's really good. So he kicked ass. He's got great tone. He's got great feel. He's an awesome bass player, and he's not as pretty as Lexxi, which is great because I just get more girls. I mean, a lot of the girls that went for Lexxi though, they were just looking to be friends. So they weren't looking to have sex. I mean, he was pretty ahead of the curve with the transitioning movement. So, but yeah, Spyder is kick ass. He's doing great. He sounds great. And as long as he doesn't rub me the wrong way, he can have a gig for a while.
What did the process look like? Because it took you guys kind of a while and some different bassists that were kind of touring around with you. How did that whole process go?
Well, we never expected Lexxi to quit the band, but when he quit, we were like, well, shit, let's, unlike a lot of bands, we had the same members for a long time. Like we basically, we stayed together better than the vast majority of bands. And so we didn't want to rush in and get somebody that was going to be in the band for a year and then have it not work out. So we really just tried a bunch of people out. And there were people that our fans liked and all that. And, we even had a contest. We had people vote and all that. And as much as we love our fans and we appreciate their input, ultimately in a situation like that, we've got to pick the guy that goes in that we get, because we got to go on the road with him. We've got to work with the guy. And for Spyder, it was kind of a no-brainer because we've known him for many, many years, and we've played with him. He's a great player. He's a super cool guy. And it's kind of like an old, pair of socks with some holes in it. You want to throw the socks away, but they fit good and they look cool with your sneakers, and they're about to be thrown in the trash, and that's how we feel about Spyder. He's knocking on death's door. He's really not in his prime, but we're going to keep him along until he has a heart attack or something. So fuck it.
Well, speaking of staying together, this is making me think, I don't know if anyone here saw the documentary on Netflix that was about Metallica when they were doing the Saint Anger album and how they were going through therapy and all this stuff. I feel like Steel Panther needs a documentary like in that style. I feel like that's very much on brand for you guys. Do you see that ever happening, like doing some sort of movie?
We've talked a lot about different shows, about TV shows. We've pitched shows. We've had many, many people involved with us. There are people that want to do like a real documentary, like real behind the music kind of thing, and really get to know the people behind the band, who's really like doing what and who we are and all that. And maybe at some point we will do something like that. But personally, I feel like our fans really just want to party right now, and we're going to party as hard as we can until really. I think once we all start dying, I'll capitalize and I'll give all the dirt on everybody, and I'll just keep all the money for myself. Tell everybody about our singer and our drummer and Spyder and Lexxi. I'll give all the secrets away, and I'll just show pictures of them naked with in hotel rooms, and I'll just keep all the money for myself because they'll be dead.
Of course, yeah.
It'll be great.
Yeah, it's like the Pam and Tommy Lee sex tape.
Yeah.
Just steal it and distribute it.
Yeah, why not?
I have to know because, listen, I know deep down inside that you, like everybody who was born or alive during the 80s, what's your feeling on the new Metallica? Like, how am I supposed to feel about this? Because I sort of like it. It kind of has a whiplashy vibe, but then the second single sort of let me down. So how am I supposed to feel, Satchel?
Well, you know what? I can't tell you, Benny, how you're supposed to feel, but I can tell you how I feel. I liked the first single a lot, And actually, I liked the second one too. I thought it was pretty cool, and it did. It gave me vibes of like early Metallica, and the tones were really cool, and it was simple, and I liked it, man. I mean, I wasn't expecting to like it, to be honest with you, but I was really pleased to dig it, and it actually inspired me. It was like, okay, cool, that's rad. I'm really glad. We did a show in Prague with Metallica and Five Finger about 8 months ago, and it was really cool. Metallica like sat on the side of the stage while we played and watched us. I thought it was really, really cool to have those guys hang out. And James, like, he introduced himself to us afterwards, and I told him, I was like, hey man, it's really an honor to meet you. Like, there's not that many bands that we've played in front of, that I'm kind of like frightened to play in front of. But there's only a few in the world that are kind of scary, like Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, and Metallica. Like, nobody wants to see the opening band. Everybody wants to see those bands. And so going out on stage and seeing everybody in Metallica fans, I was like, I considered it a success that I didn't get hit with anything. And James looked at me and he goes, yeah, I missed. I was like, that was really good. It was good. It was quick.
Well, I can tell you when my band opened for Five Finger Death Punch, there was not a lot of crossover in the fan base. Maybe there was, but there's always that interesting moment when you're the opening band to walk out and be like, I just feel like everyone here is not open to this.
Especially Star Set, where there's like, wait, why are they wearing
it's like
hockey
men
pads?
wearing spandex, and yeah, we've gotten some interesting slurs thrown.
And Five Finger Death Punch is officially endorsed by Skull, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, so that was definitely an interesting tour, I'll say.
Yeah, I remember doing we toured with Judas Priest. And the first show we did was, oh God, where was it? Was it like Rochester or something? It was, and we were supposed to go on at like 8:00, but the promoter pushed it back an hour. So everybody was there, and they were waiting around, and we weren't on stage, and they were expecting us on stage at 8, and it was like we didn't go on until 9. And by the time we went on stage, they already hated us. They hated us because they didn't want to see us. And they're all older because they're Priest fans. And the fact that they were made to wait around made them even angrier. And we came out on stage, and there was a guy in the front row with a Judas Priest leather jacket. And he was like pointing at the jacket, and he was flipping me off. He was just like, fuck you guys. I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. Judas Priest rules. Fuck you guys. And he was doing that the whole time. In the first 2 songs we played all the way through, and I'm running up to the guy, and I'm like thrusting my crotch in his face and stuff, but he wouldn't stop. He was really angry. And so it was the first show of the tour, and I decided that if I didn't beat this guy, that was going to be the outcome of the whole tour. So I went after this dude so hard, and I made him the butt of every joke for the first 10 minutes of the show. And he was just not stopping until there were so many people that were laughing at him that he finally just went, fuck it. And he gave up, and he joined in the fun. And I was like, I fucking won. I was like that. And that was basically what we had to do every night, because there was people that wanted to kill us every night. But I think that's the best thing you can do as a band. You got to go out and play for people that don't know who you are and try to win them over. Yeah.
But most bands can't do that, because you have to stick with your songs. So you have your songs, but you guys have your humor. Like, you have your wit. So if you're like, fuck it, they don't want to hear Asian hooker, let's just talk about the blonde chick with the big tits in the front row for the next 8 minutes. And that's your defense. Most of us are just like, well, if you don't like the first Bare Naked Lady song that I'm playing, you're probably not going to like the Hootie and the Blowfish cover I have coming next.
Well, trust me, there's just as many people that hate it when you start joking about fucking their wives. Hey, I was fucking your wife last night. Whoa, what the fuck do you say? I'll fucking kick your ass. we've had people jump on stage and literally try to beat the shit out of Michael Starr. He got chased around the stage one time. It was great. It's super fun. It's challenging.
It's like that show Cheaters when he finally got stabbed. It only took like 300 fucking seasons of the guy going like, oh, I know what's going on. We're following you with the camera. And your girlfriend knows you're fucking that chick before he got stabbed.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to look that episode up.
He was a hero. Oh, yeah, no, that really happened, though. Yeah, he was on a boat, and the guy finally stabbed him. I'm surprised it took so long.
He should have known. He didn't have body armor on? That's what I'd be wearing the whole fucking time.
No, but he did act a lot more like casual and laid back after that episode.
He's like, oh, okay, well, we know this girl's husband is cheating on her, but we're not going to go too hard on this guy.
Oh, my God, dude.
I don't know. I've always noticed when we're opening for like a band that seems like an odd match, there's usually like a 3 to 4 song buffer where it's like you go out and you're like, oh, everyone hates us. And then by the second song, there's like a couple people that are getting into it. And then the third, and then there's some people you're never going to win over, especially if you can't interact with them. But a lot of the times it just seems like if it's unfamiliar, they're going to immediately not like it at the outset. But a lot of people convert more quickly than you would think, in my experience.
Yeah, so some people are really open to just rocking, and they want to like you. They give you a lot of room to screw up, and they'll still clap for you. But some people want to hate you right out of the gate, and I think it's a good experience playing for people that just don't care. We toured with Stone Sour, and we were opening up for them for a while. I remember there was this one show where there was this girl who brought a book. She brought a fucking novel with her, and she sat in the front row. She already staked her front row spot out, and while we were on stage, she was reading a novel. And I was like, that is fucking classy. Like, I'm going to diss you so hard. I'm just going to pretend you're not there. I'm going to read a novel. And it was awesome. It just made me laugh. I thought it was great.
That's like some Andy Kaufman shit, dude.
It was.
Like literally, you got heavy metal going on in front of me, and you're like, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
It was amazing. I'll tell you what, I was thrusting my crotch in this girl's face.
It's the go-to move for anyone.
So vehemently, and she really tried to ignore it, but she couldn't ignore it. I was like, and every time she glanced up, I smiled at her. I was like, oh yeah, I'm fucking you.
I was really confused, and maybe again, being a guy from the metal world. So why did they replace the only good member of Motley Crue with John 5, who's amazing? So it's like they got rid of the best guy for the best guy, but it still sounds like Vince Neil when I heard the bootleg.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the tough thing about that is like you get. I mean, listen, Mick Mars was great. That's the thing. Like
I love Mick Mars.
He was awesome.
Like the greatest. Yeah, even with the spina bifida. I loved his posture.
Dude, I mean, it just goes to show you. Like, I mean, Motley Crue, they've had this problem with their whole career. Like, you can't really replace anybody in that band because people want to see the original guys. I mean, and as much as, let's face it, like Vince has never been a great lead singer. He always sounds like a screechy cat live. But the truth is, he's Vince Neil, and we all love him. And we want to see Vince Neil because he's part of the band. And actually, to be honest with you, he's been losing weight lately. He looks better than he's ever looked.
Well, that's why I'm confused why he sounds still just as terrible. So he looks great. I mean, by comparison, he looks like he only ate half of himself from 1988.
Listen, if he started sounding good at this point, people would be like, this is fucked up. It wouldn't be right. It'd be like, no, he has to sound like shit. Otherwise,
well, isn't there some scientist somewhere that can like we've figured out a lot with science. What's up with Vince Neil? Because there's like a few bootlegs out there like where he sounds okay. How can he sound so bad? He's reverse Ozzy. Ozzy can't speak, but once he sings, it's like shot in the dark. You can understand it. Vince Neil could speak totally normal. Normal. But as soon as it's girls, he's forgotten how to pronounce anything.
Yeah, it's really strange. And John 5 is a great guitar player, but I don't think it's for most people it doesn't matter how good John 5 is because I mean, don't get me wrong, I think people are fine seeing Motley Crue, I think there's always going to be a certain amount of fans that are like, I would rather see Mick, and a lot of people are going to miss Mick for sure. But no doubt that like, listen, John sounds good, but Mick had great fucking tone, and let's face it, he was a big part of writing all that stuff. He wrote a lot of killer riffs, so it's weird. I don't know. It's Motley Crue. I think everybody's like kind of used to it sounding a certain way, and Mick probably couldn't go on the way he was going. He probably had pain. So I wish Mick Mars the best. He's an awesome player, and he's always been the one guy in Motley Crue that didn't say that Steel Panther sucked a bag of dicks. So thank you, Mick.
Well, I mean, speaking of Steel Panther having a new, person in the lineup, have you noticed anything in terms of your fans, or have you gotten any response having, since you guys were together as a unit for so long, having a new person there? What do you feel has changed from your perspective?
Well, I mean, obviously, anytime you change a band member, it's going to be different. We've got, I feel like here's the good thing about Steel Panther. Lexxi never really contributed as far as writing goes, and he didn't bring a lot to the table as far as the music goes. So it's not like we're missing a songwriter. And when it comes to the live show, comedically, I mean, listen, we miss him. He was always fun to be with and fun to watch. But as far as the banter and as far as the talking and things, he would chime in once in a while, but he didn't talk a lot on the microphone. He mostly just provided that. He was very fun to watch visually. But Spyder's doing a great job. I mean, like it doesn't feel like we're a different band live, because listen, I run my trap a lot, and I talk a lot with Michael, and then Spyder does what Lexxi did. He'll chime in once in a while, and where it's appropriate. And but a lot of our show involves the crowd, so we talk to the crowd and we get the crowd involved, and that has a lot to do with me and a lot to do with Michael, and it didn't have a lot to do with Lexxi as much when it came to the dialogue and the banter between the crowd. But that said, it's definitely a different animal, and we appreciate Lexxi for what he brought. But at the end of the day, I look at it like this: he made the choice. He made the choice to leave. And if our fans listen, and if you're a Steel Panther fan and you love Lexxi Foxx and you feel like the band's never going to be the same without Lexxi Foxx and you don't want to watch it, that's your prerogative. You can leave and stop being a fan. But we're out there, and I feel like our shows are just as much fun as they ever were. And not only do we sound better than we've ever sounded, but the party is just as much fun. And we've got a new record out, and I think it's proof that we are continuing to be creative and be fun. And we're gonna keep touring until the next pandemic hits. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's really hilarious that people are upset about the bass thing. I mean, if we look about like in the annals of rock in history, how big of a deal losing a bass player versus, like, I don't know, Pantera's touring with Zakk Wylde and Charlie, which, by the way, I love Pantera and I love the music and I'm glad that they're going around. But again, it's the same thought process as having Joe Satriani play Van Halen and calling it Van Halen.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're the songwriter. Like, I mean, you're with three of the four guys, and it's like, oh, how could they ever be the same? And it's like, it gives you perspective in this world. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Steel Panther, we are more than just the songs or just the, any one guy, but you're right. I mean, we've still got the same songwriter. We've still got the same singer. I think that's really important. The singer is a very important part of the band. But we never chose to have Lexxi leave. So I look at it like this. If you're a fan of the band, you have a choice to either continue to support the band or not. If somebody chooses to leave the band, that's their choice. I mean, I feel bad for
I mean, there's people out there that have said, that it's, that we fired him or we forced him out of the band. That's all bullshit. He left of his own accord and he didn't want to be in the band anymore. And I'll be honest with you, that bummed me out. If you quit the band, there's no way back in, and a lot of people are like, bring back Lexxi. It's not listen, he quit the band. And as far as I'm concerned, we're moving on without Lexxi Foxx. He'll never be a part of the band again. Sorry to say that. If you're a fan of Steel Panther, if you're hoping that Lexxi is coming back, he will never come back to the band. That's cat's out of the bag. He's not coming back. And it's got nothing to do with him. It's got to do with us as a band and me as a guy. I don't, that's like a girl fucking my best friend and then going, hey, let's get back together. No, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't really care if she fucks my best friend, but I mean, if she, that's similar, you know what I'm trying to say.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, listen, you got a band, we built this band from scratch and took it from playing gigs for $100 a night to doing Wembley Arena. And if you do that and then somebody just quits out of the blue and says, fuck you, I'm out, then that's his choice. But I'm not.
Is that how it happened though? I mean, can we talk about that? Because I mean, I love you guys. How did you find out that Lexxi was like for real out? It's 40 years.
He left. He made a choice. He didn't write a letter. He didn't say goodbye. He just said, I'm out. And it wasn't, listen, that's his decision. But again, that's, without going into too much detail, he's the one who made that decision. And, the fans, I feel like the fans need to know that because there are fans that are like, I've seen people post things like, Steel Panther's being run by a manager and the manager made Lexxi like quit the band. Like that's all, whoever's telling you that is an idiot. Like Steel Panther is only run by the 4 guys that were in the band. And we have always made decisions. We are more of a band than any band out there. We've always made decisions together. We've always given everybody ample opportunity to chime in about every situation, whether it was a fucking contract to play at one club or whether it was a tour or whether it was a song lyric, anything that's ever gone down, everybody always has their say. And, but so nobody, there's no outside entity that could come into this band and say, and take over our band. That doesn't happen. Do we have people that help run our social media? Absolutely. But we have the ultimate say on all that shit. So if somebody rubs us the wrong way, they get fired. But that said, we didn't fire Lexxi Foxx because we valued him as a equal member of the band. He quit the band. And it wasn't, again, it wasn't something we wanted, but he quit. So, but when you quit, to me, that's where I draw the line. Like, I can't go back. I can't go backwards. Like, I'm not going to be Cheap Trick. I can't do it. Sorry.
That sounds like he drew a line in the sand. Like, I mean, when you're brothers in a band, I mean, it's interesting because, you guys always had prided yourself on being a band through like 16 Van Halen lineups and 87 Aussie drummers. There was one metal school Steel Panther. So I guess I can understand that after all that time, like it's hard not to take, well, you clearly do take it personal because it's one of those, I understand you've removed yourself from it, but bro, you can't unfuck my chick. You can't. I mean, that's the thing. Like it is, being in a band is like being in a marriage. It's like being in a marriage and the shit that you go through in a band, it's not fucking easy. And anybody who thinks it's easy being in a band is out of their fucking mind. There's no money in it now. You're busting your ass for a fraction of the money that you could have made 30 years ago or 20 years ago. And anybody who's in a band does it for the love of it. And if you're lucky enough to even be able to make a decent living or a living at all, you shouldn't
take it for granted. And if somebody, and that's a band. A band is like, it's not just a marriage; it's also a business partnership, right? So you've got this company and this business entity that you formed that you need to protect at all costs because it's your livelihood. So I personally would never quit and leave my other guys hanging and leave them in a situation where they didn't know what to do. All of a sudden their livelihoods are in jeopardy, or their jobs. It's our job. And it's not just a job, it's a privilege to be able to play music for fans that fucking love us. It's a privilege. And so when you quit and you say, I'm out and I don't care about the fans and I don't care about you guys, I don't care whether you ever get a gig again. I don't care if nobody hires you because I'm not in the band anymore. And I don't care if the fans don't want to see you anymore because I'm not in it. You're basically giving the middle finger to everybody involved, including the fans. So the fans should be like, oh, fuck that guy, in my opinion. But there's a bunch of fans there's always going to be fans that are like, well, no way, man, that guy was the only guy. And without that guy, and if they are not Steel Panther fans anymore, then they can walk, as far as I'm concerned. The band, the guys who gave a shit about the band are still in the band. Simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's unfortunate too that a lot of fans and people out there just have no or very limited perspective of what all the things that you just said, how it really works, what really goes into it, and what are the dynamics and the sacrifices that you're making. And it's very easy for an outsider, just like the people that, make the nasty comments on YouTube, to project whatever they think is going on into a situation. And it's impossible to make it known, across the board what's really going on, because people are they're outside of that bubble,
I can just say this. If Lexxi wanted to be in the band still, he would have still been in the band. We as a band, like I said, gave him every opportunity to stay in the band. And he made that choice. But like I said, once you make that choice, that it is personal, because it not only was, hey, I don't care about you enough for you to make a living anymore, but I don't care enough about what we built. I don't care enough about the fans that love it. And for me, like, I take it very personally that, especially, and maybe it's because he didn't contribute enough. When I go out and I have fans that come up to me and say, I fucking love you guys, or I swear to God, I've had people say things like, hey man, I served in Iraq, and without your music, I don't think I would have made it through. And that's like really heavy shit. Like that makes me go, oh my God, like it's not just dick jokes, Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, but people are using music and it's helping them through difficult shit in their lives. So for me, I don't take it lightly. I feel, like I said, it's a privilege to be able to play music and to create music that people look forward to hearing. And every time we get to do a show and every time we release a record, I take it seriously. Yes, I take it seriously, but I don't take it seriously. I want people to have fun. I want people to laugh, but I'm never going to leave people hanging, because this is a awesome bitchin' band to be in. And I'm proud that we've been able to create something where we have fans, and I'll keep doing shows as long as there's enough people that show up that we can make a living doing it, and that we can do it. So I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I'll keep going. And even if Metallica asks me to join their band, I'm going to say no, unless it's a fucking shit ton of money, and then I'm out.
So would you consider it like escapism? Because it's like, all right, you said it's not just dick jokes, which I've been to a bunch of shows, and I know it's not just dick jokes. In fact, you guys are incredible musicians. You write incredible songs. You're incredible performers, and you're like the musicality, like the The songwriting, the understanding, the timing, all of those things are amazing. But, you know, obviously if you're like the PMRC over there and they see just dick jokes, have you created like a very high level form of escapism that people don't necessarily get?
Well, I mean, it's when I say it's not just dick jokes, what I'm saying is, you know, like any art
There's
form,
tits jokes too.
Yeah, right. Like any art form, I mean, like if it was only if we released albums that were just dick jokes and they entertained people, ultimately the fans, what it means to the fans and the entertainment value that it brings, and if it can help somebody, you know, whether it's escapism or whatever you want to call it, if it can get somebody to a happier place in their life and help them through dark times, it doesn't matter whether you're a good songwriter. It doesn't matter whether you're you know, changing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's all about creating something that people want to go to and listen to and enjoy. And we've created a fan base of people that are truly enjoying it, and they've expressed that to me, and I take that with a lot of pride. I take it seriously. Like there's this people out there, whether it's 100 people or 1,000 or 1,000,000 Steel Panther fans out there that love what we do. I'm going to keep it going as long as I can because I'm helping people enjoy their lives and get through their lives. And let's face it, you know, the world is a shit show right now. So it needs as much funny, awesome shit as we can deliver, because it's not really, it's a crazy planet right now. So I'm trying to bring a little levity to it, and the more dick jokes, the better.
You're here.
Absolutely. No, I relate to that a lot. I mean, I've had a similar experience. I mean, my band, obviously, you know, we deliver a very different product, but I think that is one of the things that I remember when I'm like, I couldn't see myself ever leaving that, because you get told by someone that it's like, you know, I was suicidal and I listened to your music and that got me through that, you know, and that's like, how can you, like, it feels like you're ditching that person when you leave the music, you know, like you think about all those stories that you hear of people, whether it's something heavy like that, or whether it's just people that are really into the story or really into the music on a positive note. I mean, it really is. Yeah. It's a commitment sort of a lifetime, you know, and it is like a marriage in a lot of ways. You've got like a purpose and a mission, and you stick to it and you stay committed to it, and because it's got meaning.
The Starset Steel Panther tour 2024 is going to be incredible.
Yeah, there you go.
Who could
Right.
wait? Whose crowd will give less of a fuck about the other person's crowd?
Oh my God, that would be the weirdest conglomerate.
It'll be just space helmets and fucking mullets.
Which is fine. I've seen stranger things.
And also, I'll say about our fans, so one thing I love about them is they are all super inclusive and like open-minded. So I can't imagine any Starset fan like looking at a fan of another band and being like, oh, I don't like this person. They're all like, oh no, we're all a big team. It's a very, very inclusive community, at least amongst our fans. And I feel like with you as well.
They wear spandex too, just different type of spandex.
Yeah. Our fans are the same way. We have a lot of bands tour with us that are different, and our fans are usually really open. I mean, listen, they're there to have a good time. So I think they're just, if there's an opening band, they look at it like icing on the cake. And when we've opened for people too, I think, you know, granted, like, you know, Judas Priest fans were a little heavier, a little more hardcore, but ultimately, you know, I think most people in general, you know, Iron Maiden fans can be rough, but you know, if you go out there and you're kicking ass and you're putting 100% into it, I think a lot of music fans, and let's face it, like people that go to live shows in this day and age, most of them are music fans, because there's a lot of shit you can do on your phone and never leave your house. That's why I think it's really important to be a musician and go out and do gigs and you know, bring new people into it, like show them what they're missing, you know?
Yeah.
Listen, Satchel, thank you for coming and hanging with us again. It's been a while, and it's been a pleasure to catch up.
Yeah.
On the Prowl, the next studio album is coming out on February 24th, which may or may not be right now or last week or next week. We don't
Whenever this comes
Whenever
out.
this drops.
Yeah, it's we're excited about it. Go check it out. We got a couple videos out, 3 videos out already, and they're on steelpantherrocks.com. And we're excited to go on tour. Our tour starts on the 24th, same day the record comes out, and we're playing Vegas, and then we're going everywhere. We're going all over the United States. So
You guys are coming to Boston, right?
I think we're going to be in Worcester.
Yeah.
Worcester.
We always play there as well.
Yeah, that's my hometown. But Cory, it's funny because we're looking through some Lost Symphony stuff, and the last time I actually saw Ollie Herbert, the guitarist from All That Remains, alive, was backstage. You got him backstage because they didn't believe his past for whatever reason. But we gave Cory a hard time because Styx was with us, and we made a little video message, which I'll give to you, Cory, if you want. Basically saying fuck you for not coming to Steel Panther.
So we just want to say, Cory, fuck you for not coming with us.
I'm not even talking to you anymore.
Nope. We're going to break up. Ollie, what do you think about it?
I'm disappointed, Cory.
Yeah, we're not mad. We're just disappointed.
I'm actually not even disappointed. I'm mad. Because like everybody says, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. Fuck you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Cory and I have made it a thing for over a decade to go to every single Steel Panther show. So hopefully we'll be able to come see you guys in Worcester, at my hometown. I don't think I've ever seen you there.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know it was your hometown. So let me know how many tickets you need. I'll throw you on the list.
Nice. Maybe I'll fly up to Boston and we'll make it a trio. That would be fun for me to see
that would
a
be
show
so
in
sick,
Worcester.
Siobhán. Please come for that.
Okay, I'm down.
Yes.
I haven't seen Steel Panther yet, so I have to see it after all these episodes. I gotta see the live show.
Yes,
Okay,
come
that's
out.
definitely going to happen. All right, guys. Satchel, thank you so much. Check out 2020-d.com. We'll catch you next time.
Every time I go on the internet and I ever hear about your name, it's always like David Aberzie should be back in Pearl Jam. Is that something that would ever fucking happen for a nerd like me?
I can't imagine it. It wouldn't be up to me, but at this point, I can't imagine it ever. It seems like they're just like the idea of like the conversation, the first 15 minutes of me walking into a room with those guys. I could picture a couple of hugs, but then inevitably there'd be some questions about royalty rates and all these other. It would just get ugly quick. So.